The morning sky above Seoul turned black as massive ships appeared without warning. Captain Dae-ho Kim stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force ship, Seoul's Pride, watching through the wide windows as alien vessels blocked out the sun. Each ship was the size of a small moon, their dark metal surfaces reflecting no light. "Sir, we're getting readings from all over the planet," said Bo-Ra Lee, her fingers dancing across the tactical display. 12 ships total. They're positioned above major cities worldwide. Dae-ho nodded slowly. He had been expecting this day for longer than most people knew. "Any communication from them yet?" "Coming in now, sir," replied Woo-Jin Park from the communication station. His voice was steady despite the sweat on his forehead. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies. Universal Translator is working." The main screen flickered to life. A tall, gray-skinned being with 4 arms and glowing, yellow eyes appeared. Its voice was deep and cold when it spoke. "People of Earth. I am Admiral Vexthar of the Galactic Confederation 3rd Fleet. Your species has developed space travel without permission from the Confederation. This is a violation of galactic law. You have 3 days to surrender completely, or we will destroy your planet." The screen went dark. Silence filled the bridge for several seconds. "Sir, what are your orders?" asked Bo-Ra. Dae-ho smiled slightly. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them it's time." Down on the planet's surface, something strange was happening. Instead of panic, people were walking out of their homes and buildings. They looked up at the giant ships above them and smiled. In downtown Seoul, young Mi Choi was teaching her 3rd grade class when the ships appeared. The children pressed against the windows, pointing at the huge shadows covering their city. "Teacher, are those bad guys?" asked little Sungmin, his eyes wide with worry. Young Mi knelt down beside her students. "No, sweetheart. They're visitors from far away. They don't understand us yet, but they will soon." "Are they going to hurt us?" asked another child. "No," young Mi said with a warm smile. "Human beings are very good at making friends, even with people who seem scary at first. These visitors will learn that too." Her phone buzzed with a text message from her husband, Tae-sung. The message was simple. "It's happening. Protocol 7 is active. Love you." Young Mi's smile grew wider. Tae-sung worked at the Institute for Advanced Physics, and she knew he had been working on something important for many years. Something he couldn't talk about, even to her. Across the city, Tae-sung Choi was in his laboratory deep underground. He and his team had been waiting for this moment for decades. When the alien ships appeared, he immediately called a special number that only a few hundred people on Earth knew about. "This is Dr. Choi," he said into the phone. "The guests have arrived, beginning phase 1. The person on the other end simply said, "Understood. All stations are go." Tae-sung hung up and turned to his assistant, Dr. Min-ho Kang. "Are the quantum arrays ready?" "Yes, sir. All systems are online and waiting for your command." "Good. Let's show our visitors that Earth has been preparing for their arrival." Meanwhile, in cities around the world, the same calm response was happening everywhere. In New York, people gathered in Central Park, looking up at the ship above them without fear. In London, office workers stepped onto rooftops to get a better view. In Tokyo, families brought their children outside to witness history. The aliens had expected screaming, running, and chaos. Instead, they saw billions of humans simply watching and waiting, as if they had known this day would come. Admiral Vexthar stood in his command center, confused by the reports coming from his scouts. "Commander Krigsta, explain to me why the humans are not afraid." "I don't understand it either, Admiral. Our psychological profiles suggested they would panic immediately. Instead, they seem prepared." "Prepared for what? They barely have faster-than-light travel. Their weapons are primitive. What could they possibly be prepared for?" Before Krigsta could answer, a communication came through from Earth. The signal was strong and clear, using perfect galactic standard language. "Admiral Vexthar of the Karani, Empire, 3rd son of war leader Thexval, graduate of the Military Academy of Xeron Prime. This is Earth. We have been expecting you." The Admiral's forearms froze. How did these primitive humans know his full name and background? That information was classified at the highest levels of Confederation security. The voice continued, "We understand you have traveled very far to reach us. Your crew must be tired and hungry. We would like to invite you and your officers to join us for dinner tomorrow evening. We have prepared foods from your homeworld, including fresh kala fruit and roasted thek beast, prepared according to traditional Korani recipes." Vexthar felt his blood turn cold. Kala fruit only grew on one island on his homeworld. The recipes for preparing thek beast were known only to the royal family of Karen. How could humans possibly know these things? "Sir," whispered Krixta, "should we respond?" The admiral was quiet for a long moment. Finally he said, "Send a message back. Tell them we accept their invitation." Back on Earth, in a secret facility beneath the Swiss Alps, Director Sang-ho Park received the alien response with satisfaction. He had been planning for this moment for 30 years. They accepted. He told his team, "Phase 2 begins tomorrow. Are our diplomatic staff ready?" "Yes, sir," replied his assistant. "Dr. Hyun-Soo Jang and Ambassador Jin-A Song are already on their way to New York. All preparation files have been distributed to the team." Sang-ho looked at the massive display showing all 12 alien ships. Each one was marked with detailed information about its crew, weapons, and mission. Information that had taken decades to collect through methods the aliens couldn't even imagine. "Good," he said. "Tomorrow we begin teaching our new friends about humanity. I think they're going to be very surprised." As night fell across Earth, the alien ships remained motionless in the sky. But below them, millions of humans went about their evening routines with unusual calm. Children did their homework. Families ate dinner together. Couples walked hand in hand through parks, pointing up at the ships and discussing what tomorrow might bring. The aliens had come to conquer a primitive world. Instead, they found themselves invited to dinner by people who seemed to know more about them than they knew about themselves. For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Vexthar began to wonder if perhaps the Galactic Confederation had made a mistake. The humans were still smiling. 3 days after the alien ships arrived, the United Nations building in New York became the center of the most important meeting in human history. Admiral Vexthar and 11 other alien representatives sat around a large table, facing the human delegation. The aliens expected to see frightened, desperate humans begging for mercy. Instead, they faced Dr. Hyun-Soo Jang, a calm man in his 50s who greeted each alien by name as they entered the room. "Welcome, Admiral Vexthar of the Korani Empire. I hope you enjoyed the kala fruit we sent to your ship yesterday." He turned to another alien. "Commander Zilf of the Hegemony of Worlds, I trust your stay has been comfortable despite the gravity difference from your homeworld Nexus 7. One by one, Dr. Jang addressed each representative, mentioning details about their cultures, their families, and their planets that made their skin change color with shock. How could humans know that Commander Zilf had 3 wives and 7 children? How did they know about the rare fruit that only grew on secret royal gardens? Beside Dr. Jang sat Ambassador Jin-A Song, a woman who had spent her entire adult life preparing for this moment. When the hegemony representative spoke in his native clicking language, she responded immediately in the same tongue. When the crystalline being from Shard communicated through light patterns, she answered using a device that flashed the correct colors. Admiral Vexthar tried to take control of the meeting. "Humans of Earth, we are not here for pleasantries. The Galactic Confederation has decided your fate. You will abandon 80% of your colonies. You will surrender all military technology to our control. You will accept the status of a client species under Confederation protection. Refuse, and we will destroy your entire civilization." The room fell silent. Several alien representatives looked uncomfortable, but they had their orders. Dr. Jang listened politely, taking notes on a simple tablet. When the Admiral finished speaking, the doctor smiled and slid his tablet across the table. "Please review our preliminary assessment of your situation, Admiral." Vexithar looked at the tablet, expecting to see human surrender documents. Instead, his eyes grew wide as he read detailed maps of every Confederation world, complete with military installations, resource deposits, and population centers. The file contained economic reports showing exactly how much each world produced and consumed. It showed which systems were losing money and which were barely holding their civilizations together. "This is impossible," whispered Kriksta, looking over his admiral's shoulder. "This information is classified at the highest levels." "Doctor." Yang opened another file on the tablet. "We've also prepared some economic projections for you, based on current resource consumption rates and population growth. The Confederation will face complete economic collapse within 47 years. Several member worlds are already showing signs of civil unrest due to resource shortages." Ambassador Song spoke up in perfect Karani. "Your own homeworld, Admiral, has been importing 60% of its food for the past 8 years. The mining operations on Charon's 3 moons are running out of valuable metals. Your people are already rationing water in the outer settlements." Admiral Vexthar felt his blood pressure rising. Every word was true, but this information was known only to the highest levels of Karani government. "How do you know these things?" "We've been watching," Dr. Jiang said simply. "For quite some time." Commander Zilf leaned forward aggressively. "You dare to spy on the Confederation? This is an act of war." "No," Ambassador Song replied calmly. "This is an act of concern. We've been monitoring your civilizations because we were worried about you." The aliens exchanged confused looks. Dr. Jiang continued, "Every time your species has encountered a new world with intelligent life, you've demanded submission or threatened destruction. But you never ask why those civilizations developed the way they did. You never try to understand what they might offer in return." He touched the tablet again, bringing up new displays. "The Karani Empire is facing starvation because your leaders refuse to admit they need help with farming techniques. The hegemony of worlds has 17 different rebellions happening right now because their tax system is crushing smaller planets. The Crystal Collective from Shard is slowly dying because they can't figure out how to repair their ancient technology." Each statement hit like a hammer blow. Every alien in the room knew these problems existed, but hearing them spoken aloud by humans was deeply shocking. Admiral Vexthar stood up, his forearms shaking with anger. "Even if everything you say is true, what can primitive humans possibly do about it? You barely learned to travel between stars 50 years ago." Dr. Jiang and Ambassador Song looked at each other and smiled. It was the same calm, knowing smile that humans had been wearing since the ships first arrived. "Admiral," Dr. Jiang said gently, "what if I told you that we learned to travel between stars 150 years ago? What if everything you think you know about human development has been carefully designed to look primitive?" "That's impossible," Commander Zilf clicked angrily. "Our scouts have been monitoring your species for decades. We've seen your technology levels, your space capabilities, your military strength. You're barely beyond your home system." Ambassador Song touched her tablet and projected a holographic display into the air above the table. It showed the solar system, but not as the aliens had ever seen it before. Hidden bases appeared throughout the asteroid belt. Massive shipyards showed themselves behind the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Secret colonies materialized on worlds the aliens thought were empty. "This is what we've actually built while you were watching," she said. "Every primitive ship you've seen, every limited technology demonstration, every struggling colony was part of a very long performance." The room was completely silent. Admiral Vexthar sat down heavily, staring at the holographic display. "Why?" he finally asked. "Why hide your true capabilities?" Dr. Jiang leaned forward. "Because we wanted to understand you before you understood us. We needed to know whether your species could be helped or if they were truly committed to conquest. We needed time to prepare solutions to your problems before we revealed ourselves." "Solutions?" asked Commander Zilf. Ambassador Song smiled again. "The Karani Empire needs new farming techniques? We've developed agricultural methods that can increase crop yields by 400% while using half the water. The hegemony's tax problems? We've created economic models that have ended poverty on 17 human worlds. The Crystal Collective's technology failures. Our engineers have been studying crystalline matrix systems for 60 years. She paused and looked around the table. We don't want to conquer you. We want to save you. Admiral Vexthar felt something he hadn't experienced in his entire military career. Complete confusion. Save us from what? From yourselves, Dr. Yang said quietly. Your civilizations are dying, Admiral. Not from external threats, but from internal problems that you refuse to acknowledge. Resource wars, economic collapse, technological stagnation. These things will destroy the Confederation long before any external enemy could. He touched the tablet one more time. The display changed to show detailed plans, agricultural reforms, economic restructuring, technological sharing agreements, and diplomatic frameworks that could solve every major problem facing the Confederation. This is our counteroffer, Dr. Yang said. Not surrender terms, but a rescue plan. We'd like to help you save your civilizations before it's too late. The aliens stared at the plans in stunned silence. Everything they thought they knew about this first contact situation had just been turned upside down. They had come to conquer a primitive species, only to discover that the primitives wanted to save them. Admiral Vexthar looked at his fellow commanders, seeing his own confusion reflected in their faces. Finally, he turned back to the humans. What do you want in return? Dr. Zhang smiled the same calm smile that every human had been wearing for 3 days. The chance to make some new friends. Deep in space, far beyond where any alien scouts had ever searched, the massive human ship Busan's shield hung motionless in the darkness. Admiral Sujin Kang stood on the bridge, watching displays that showed the locations of every Confederation ship in the galaxy. Her shadow fleet had been watching and waiting for this moment for over 50 years. Admiral, called out her communications officer, we're receiving reports from all observation posts. The conference on Earth went exactly as planned. Sujin nodded. She had helped write those plans decades ago, back when she was just a young engineer working on humanity's greatest secret project. Any signs that the Confederation suspects the truth about our capabilities? No, ma'am. They still believe we're a primitive species that just learned space travel. Dr. Gildong Nam's deception protocols are working perfectly. Dr. Gildong Nam was now 78 years old, but his mind was still sharp as the day he first proposed humanity's grand plan. As the chief architect of Operation Silent Watch, he had convinced Earth's leaders to do something that seemed impossible: deliberately limit their own technological development in public while secretly building the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. The plan had begun in 2089, when Earth's deep space telescopes detected signs of the approaching Confederation fleet. Instead of panicking or preparing for war, Dr. Nam had suggested something different. If they're coming to judge whether we're ready for galactic civilization, he had told the Emergency Council, then let's make sure they see exactly what we want them to see. For 68 years, humanity had played a careful game. Every public space mission was designed to look slightly primitive. Every new technology was released slowly, as if humans were struggling to understand basic concepts that they had actually mastered decades earlier. Every colony ship was built to appear crude and inefficient, while secretly containing the most advanced technology ever created. Dr. Nam had spent his entire career studying alien psychology through intercepted communications and careful observation of Confederation activities throughout the galaxy. He learned that the aliens had a pattern. They would monitor new species for several decades, watching their technological development, then arrive with ultimatums when the species developed faster than light travel. They're not evil, Dr. Nam had explained to the engineering teams. They're afraid. The Confederation is slowly falling apart and they can't afford to have new competitors threatening their control. But if we appear weak and primitive, they'll underestimate us completely. The deception had required incredible coordination. Engineer Donghyun Oh had led the team that built humanity's real ships, vessels that could travel twice as fast as anything in the Confederation fleet while using half the energy. But these ships were built in secret facilities that the aliens couldn't detect. The key, Donghyun had explained to his team, is efficiency. The aliens build bigger and more powerful ships because they don't understand advanced physics. We build smaller, smarter ships that can do more with less. Captain Su Young Han commanded one of these advanced vessels. Her ship, the Inchin's Dream, could phase in and out of normal space-time, making it completely invisible to alien sensors. The quantum phase technology had been humanity's greatest breakthrough, discovered by accident during early experiments with faster-than-light communication. "It's simple, really," she often explained to new pilots. "We don't hide from their sensors. We exist in a different phase of reality until we choose to reveal ourselves. To them, we're like ghosts." The Shadow Fleet consisted of over 3,000 ships, all equipped with this quantum phase technology. They had been watching Confederation activities for decades, learning everything about alien military tactics, technology, and psychology. But the ships were only part of humanity's secret. The real breakthrough had been in understanding how alien societies worked. Dr. Nam's psychological analysis teams had identified the critical weaknesses in every Confederation member species. "The Karani Empire looks strong," Dr. Nam had written in his classified reports, "but they're actually terrified of appearing weak in front of other species. Their entire culture is built on pride and military strength, but their economy is failing. If we can make them feel respected while offering them help, they'll become our strongest allies." Similar analyses existed for every member of the Confederation. The hegemony of worlds was struggling with rebellions because their leaders didn't understand basic economics. The Crystal Collective was dying because they had forgotten how their own technology worked. Every alien civilization had problems that humanity had already solved. The most incredible part was how human society had adapted to maintain the deception. Billions of people had lived their entire lives knowing that their real technology was hidden from the galaxy. Children learned in school about the limitations of human space travel, while their parents worked on ships that could cross the galaxy in weeks. It required a level of social cooperation that I don't think any other species could achieve, Dr. Nam reflected in his later writings. Every human had to be willing to appear weaker than they really were for the greater good of our species. The plan had worked beyond anyone's expectations. When the Confederation finally arrived, they found exactly what they expected: a primitive species with crude technology and limited space capabilities. They never suspected that human colonies in nearby star systems were actually just the visible portions of massive secret installations. Admiral Su Jin received a secure communication from Earth. "Admiral, this is Dr. Nam. The aliens have taken our bait completely. They believe we're offering to help them out of desperation, not because we've already solved all their problems. Phase 3 is authorized." "Understood, Dr. Nam. All ships are ready." Around her, the bridge crew began activating systems that had been waiting for this moment for decades. Quantum phase generators powered up. Advanced scanning arrays came online. Communication systems that could reach every human installation in the galaxy simultaneously began transmitting. The time for hiding was over. Across the solar system, hidden bases began revealing themselves. The aliens thought they were monitoring a single star system with one inhabited planet and a few primitive outposts. They were actually surrounded by the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. Captain Chang Min Yu, aboard the stealth ship Guangzhou's Hope, was positioned near the alien fleet. His job was to monitor their reactions when they realized the truth. "Sir," his sensor operator reported, "the alien ships are beginning to detect our installations. Their scanning officers look very confused." Chang Min smiled. He had been a social worker before joining the Shadow Fleet, and he understood people, both human and alien. "They're not confused. They're starting to understand that everything they believed about us was wrong. That's going to be very frightening for them. Should we reveal ourselves? Not yet. Let them discover us slowly. Dr. Nam says fear followed by understanding creates the strongest foundation for friendship." On Earth, the second day of negotiations was about to begin. The aliens thought they were dealing with desperate humans, trying to buy time. They had no idea that humanity had been preparing for this conversation for nearly 70 years. Dr. Nam sat in his office, reviewing the final phases of the plan. Tomorrow, the aliens would learn about humanity's real capabilities. But they would also learn something more important, that despite having the power to conquer the entire Confederation, humans still chose cooperation over conquest. Phase 4 begins tomorrow, he said to his assistant. Time to show our guests what humanity has really built. The galaxy was about to change forever. The war began not because humans wanted to fight, but because Admiral Vexthar could not accept what he had learned. After 3 days of negotiations, the truth about human capabilities had shaken him so deeply that he made a desperate decision. Prepare all weapons, he ordered his fleet. We will destroy Earth before these humans can spread their influence to other worlds. His second-in-command, Sub-Admiral Krixta, hesitated. Sir, the humans have offered us solutions to every problem facing our civilization. Perhaps we should— No! Vexthar's forearms slammed against his command console. Don't you understand? If they're this advanced, they've been lying to us for decades. How can we trust anything they say? They could be planning to enslave us all. Krixta looked at the data the humans had shared. Agricultural techniques that could save millions of lives. Economic models that could end poverty. Medical knowledge that could cure diseases that had plagued her homeworld for centuries. Sir, what if they're telling the truth? What if they really want to help? Then they're fools, Vexthar growled. And fools don't survive in the galaxy. Target their major cities, we attack in 1 hour. But Admiral Vexthar had made a critical mistake. He assumed that human defensive technology was as primitive as everything else they had shown the galaxy. He had no idea that his every word was being monitored by Captain Chang Min-yu aboard the stealth ship Guangzhou's Hope. Earth Command, this is Changmin. The alien admiral has just ordered an attack on the planet. All civilian cities are targeted. On Earth, Dr. Gildong Nam received the report with sadness rather than surprise. I had hoped Admiral Vexthar would choose differently, he said to his staff. Activate Phase 4. All Shadow Fleet units are authorized to reveal themselves. Throughout the solar system, over 3,000 human ships suddenly appeared as if materializing from empty space. The quantum phase technology that had kept them hidden for decades was shut down, revealing the true size of humanity's fleet. Admiral Vexthar stared at his displays in horror. Where do they come from? How many ships do they have? Sir, his sensor officer reported with a shaking voice. I'm counting over 3,000 vessels. They're surrounding our entire fleet. Their technology signatures are impossible. Some of these ships are reading as being partially outside normal spacetime. Commander Ji-Hoon Lim led the first human fighter squadron to engage the alien attack force. His small ship danced between massive alien weapons blasts with precision that seemed to violate the laws of physics. Remember, he told his pilots over the communication system, we're not trying to destroy them. We're trying to show them that violence isn't necessary. His fighter, the Soul's Talon, twisted through space in ways that made alien gunners dizzy. When enemy weapons locked onto him, he would phase slightly out of normal reality, causing their shots to pass harmlessly through empty space. The alien pilots had never seen anything like it. Their training had prepared them to fight enemies, with similar technology to their own. They had no idea how to combat ships that could exist in multiple dimensions at the same time. But the real battle wasn't being fought with weapons. Specialist Chang Min-yu had been chosen for this mission because of his background in social work. Before joining the military, he had spent years helping people overcome their problems through understanding and communication. Open channels to all alien ships, he ordered. Begin the broadcast. Across every communication frequency used by the Confederation fleet, Changmin's voice began to speak. But he wasn't delivering threats or demands for surrender. Instead, he was telling the truth. Soldiers of the Confederation fleet, he said in perfect galactic standard. My name is Chang Min-yu. Before I became a military officer, I was a social worker on Earth. I helped families solve their problems and find better ways to live together. Inside the alien ships, crew members stopped what they were doing to listen. This wasn't typical military communication. I know many of you joined the military because your homeworlds are struggling. The Karani Empire is facing food shortages. The hegemony worlds are dealing with economic collapse. The Crystal Collective is slowly losing the knowledge needed to maintain their civilization. Changmin's words hit like hammer blows. Every alien in the fleet knew these problems existed, but they had been told that conquest was the only solution. Your leaders have told you that the only way to save your people is to take resources from other worlds. But what if there was a better way? What if we could solve these problems without anyone having to die? Commander Zilf, aboard the hegemony ship Domination, felt his resolve wavering. His home planet was indeed facing economic ruin. His own family was struggling to afford basic necessities. Changmin continued, "The humans have developed solutions to every problem your civilizations face. We're not offering these solutions because we're weak or desperate. We're offering them because we believe that a galaxy where everyone has enough to eat and a safe place to live is better than a galaxy where everyone fights over scraps." On the Karani flagship, several junior officers approached Sub-Admiral Krixta. "Ma'am," one of them said quietly, "what if the humans are telling the truth? What if we don't have to fight?" Krixta looked around the bridge. She could see the doubt in her crew's eyes. These were good people who had joined the military to protect their families, not to become conquerors. The tide of battle turned when Dr. Miran Bey's medical ship arrived at the combat zone. As a combat medic, her job was to save lives regardless of which side they were on. When an alien fighter was damaged by weapons fire, she immediately moved to help. Healing wind to damaged hegemony fighter, she broadcast. "This is Dr. Miran Bey of the Earth Medical Corps. Your ship is losing atmosphere. We're sending emergency supplies and medical assistance." The alien pilot, Commander Thex, was stunned. You want to help me? We're trying to kill you." "You're hurt," Dr. Miran replied simply. "That's all that matters right now." As her medical ship attached to the damaged fighter and began emergency repairs, other alien ships stopped firing. The sight of humans risking their lives to save their enemies was something none of them had expected. The psychological impact spread through the fleet like a wave. Ship after ship began powering down weapons and requesting communication with human commanders. Admiral Vexthar watched his fleet dissolving around him. "All ships continue the attack, that's an order." But his own crew was no longer listening. Sub-Admiral Krixta stepped forward. "Sir, with respect, I believe we should accept the human offer of help. You're committing treason." "No, sir, I'm trying to save our people." Krixta turned to the bridge crew. "Take the Admiral to his quarters. Open communication with the human fleet." As the battle ended with barely any shots fired, Captain Daeho Kim aboard the Soul's Pride received surrender requests from 11 of the 12 alien ships. Only Admiral Vexthar's flagship remained hostile. "Sir," reported Bora Lee, "we're receiving a message from Sub-Admiral Krixta. She's requesting safe passage for all alien personnel and asking for a meeting to discuss the human proposals." Daeho smiled. "Grant her request, and send medical aid to any ships that need it." Woojin Park looked up from his station. "Sir, what about Admiral Vexthar? His ship is still powered for battle." "Send him a personal message," Daeho said. "Tell him that despite everything that's happened, we'd still like to invite him to dinner. Some conversations are better held over a good meal. The war that was supposed to determine Earth's fate had ended before it truly began. Instead of conquest, the aliens had discovered something they never expected, a species that chose to heal, rather than harm, even when they had the power to destroy their enemies completely. But the real surprises were still to come. 6 months after the failed attack on Earth, Admiral Vexthar stood in a place he had never expected to see, the Titan research station orbiting Saturn. The massive facility was larger than most space cities, its gleaming white structures extending for kilometers in every direction. What shocked him most was realizing that this incredible installation had been invisible to Confederation sensors until humans chose to reveal it. Dr. Yoon-hye Kwan, head of Humanities Department of Impossible Things, walked beside him through the station's main corridor. The walls were made of transparent aluminum, giving them a clear view of the laboratories and workshops where humans and aliens now worked side by side. This facility has been operating for 73 years, Dr. Kwan explained. We built it to solve problems that other species considered impossible to fix. Vexthar, who now carried the title of ambassador rather than admiral, still struggled to understand what he was seeing. Your people spent decades building this place just to help other civilizations. Not just to help, Dr. Kwan corrected gently. To prepare for the day when we could help without causing fear or suspicion. We needed to understand your problems completely before we could offer solutions. They entered a massive laboratory where engineer Byung-ho Shin was demonstrating humanity's greatest breakthrough to a group of fascinated alien scientists. In the center of the room sat a device no larger than a desk, humming quietly with contained energy. This is a molecular restructuring array, Byung-ho explained to his audience. Watch carefully. He placed a chunk of ordinary asteroid rock into the device. The machine hummed louder for several seconds, then opened to reveal a collection of rare metals that would normally take years to mine from an entire planet. Commander Zilf, who was now serving as the hegemony's ambassador to Earth, stared at the transformed materials. You can change any element into any other element? At the atomic level, yes, Byung-ho confirmed. The process requires significant energy, but we've solved that problem too. We can convert matter into energy and energy back into matter with nearly perfect efficiency. Dr. Jae-eun Moon stepped forward to explain the implications. This technology means that resource scarcity is no longer necessary. Any world can produce any material it needs, as long as it has access to basic matter and energy sources. The revelation shattered everything the alien representatives thought they knew about economics and politics. For thousands of years, their civilizations had fought wars over rare metals, fertile planets, and energy sources. The humans were casually demonstrating that none of those conflicts had been necessary. But why hide this? Asked Krixta, who had become one of humanity's strongest supporters. You could have revealed this technology decades ago and prevented countless wars. Dr. Kwan led them to another section of the laboratory, where historical displays showed the development of human technology over the past century. Because we learned from watching your civilizations that advanced technology in the wrong hands creates more problems than it solves. She gestured to a display showing the Confederation's history. Every time one of your species developed a significant advantage over others, it led to conquest and oppression. We needed to understand your social structures and psychology before sharing anything that could be used as a weapon. President Nari Jung joined them at this point, having arrived from Earth for the final phase of the demonstration. As humanity's elected leader, she had been chosen specifically because of her background in conflict resolution and international diplomacy. The truth is, President Jung explained, we could have conquered the entire Confederation 60 years ago if we had wanted to. Our military technology is centuries ahead of yours. But conquest creates enemies, not friends. We chose a different path. She led them to the station's main observation deck, where the full scope of humanity's secret project became visible. Throughout the Saturn system, hundreds of installations were now revealed. Research stations, shipyards, agricultural facilities, and cities that housed millions of humans working on solutions to galactic problems. For 3 generations, President Jung continued, our people have dedicated their lives to this project, not for conquest or glory, but for the dream of a galaxy where cooperation replaces conflict. Admiral Vexthar felt something he had never experienced in his long military career: shame. My people have spent the same time period conquering and oppressing weaker species. We thought strength meant the ability to take what we wanted. Strength means different things to different species, Dr. Kwan said kindly. For humans, true strength means having the power to help others become stronger too. The final demonstration took place in the station's main laboratory, where Dr. Jae-eun showed them the terraforming technology that could transform dead worlds into garden paradises in a matter of decades rather than centuries. Every member of the Confederation has planets that could support billions of people if properly terraformed, she explained. We've identified over 400 worlds that could be made habitable using our techniques. No one needs to fight, over living space anymore. Commander Zilf was silent for a long time, staring at the displays showing his homeworld's potential. You're offering to transform our dying planets into places where our children can grow up healthy and safe? We're offering to teach you how to do it yourselves, Dr. Jaeun corrected. We don't want to control your worlds. We want to give you the tools to build the civilizations you've always dreamed of. The psychological impact of these revelations was enormous. Every alien representative had to completely rebuild their understanding of how the galaxy worked. Scarcity, which had driven all their conflicts, was no longer necessary. The humans had found ways to create abundance for everyone, but the most profound change came when they learned about humanity's true plan. Dr. Gildong Nam, now elderly but still sharp, joined them for the final discussion. You must understand, he said. Everything we've shown you was developed with your specific needs in mind. We studied your civilizations for decades, identifying your problems and designing solutions. We never intended to keep this technology secret forever. Then, why reveal it now? Asked Admiral Vexithar. Because you were ready, Dr. Nam replied. Not technologically, you could have learned to build these devices eventually. But psychologically, you needed to see that cooperation could be more powerful than conquest. President Jung smiled the same calm smile that humans had been wearing since the first contact. The Galactic Confederation is dissolving, but not through military defeat. Your member species are choosing to leave because they've found something better. She was right. Over the past months, world after world had withdrawn from the Confederation to join humanity's new cooperative federation. The new alliance was based not on submission to a dominant species, but on mutual benefit and shared knowledge. What do you call this new organization? Asked Krixta. The Galactic Cooperative, President Jung replied. Every species contributes what they do best and receives help with their greatest challenges. No one rules over anyone else. 1 year later, Dr. Hyunsu Jang stood on the observation deck of humanity's first diplomatic station, watching mixed crews of humans and aliens working together to transform a dead world into a new home for refugees from across the galaxy. Beside him, former Admiral Vexthar, now Ambassador Vexthar, marveled at how quickly their species had learned to trust each other. In all my years as a military officer, I was taught that the galaxy was a place where only the strong survived. I never imagined it could become a place where the strong helped others become strong too. Dr. Jang watched as a Karani engineer worked alongside a human terraforming specialist, their different techniques combining to create something neither could have achieved alone. Someone once asked me why humanity chose cooperation over conquest, even when we had the power to rule the galaxy. What did you tell them? Dr. Jang smiled, watching as alien children played with human children in the station's garden, their laughter echoing through the corridors where former enemies had become family. I told them that a galaxy united is infinitely more interesting than a galaxy conquered. The stars beyond the observation windows seemed brighter now, each one representing not a potential target for conquest, but a new possibility for friendship and discovery. The galactic fleet had arrived expecting to find primitive humans to subjugate. Instead, they found teachers who had been waiting patiently to show them that there was a better way to live among the stars, and humanity was still smiling.